sounds of the sleeping sea lulled Alex into a deep and satisfying slumber. Very calming. Now, what we just saw a moment ago in the video was a breathtaking, energetic video of powerful waves of the ocean rolling and crashing with life and power. So the quote here is also about the sea, but it feels drastically different. There is something different about it. One, these waves here are very calming and soothing, almost making us go to sleep, whereas those waves were powerful and energetic and lively. So these contrasting impressions that we get of the sea shows that language can create a concrete feeling and communicate a concrete idea. So when we analyze any quote, we need to consider three things in general, okay? And we do this for every single quote. First, we need to find interesting language and techniques to talk about. We never talk about boring stuff. We don't care about boring stuff in English. We care about interesting words and techniques. Second, we want to look at the meaning and effect of those interesting language and techniques. And then finally, we link all of that to the writer's purpose. Essentially, why did the writer choose these interesting language and techniques to convey their idea? So if we were to analyze this quote, what would we look at? First, we should hone in on the language, of course. That's step one. So let's have a look. The soothing sounds of the sleeping sea. Soothing sounds. Aha, there we go. The first technique that we found is sibilance. Okay, so what's sibilance? Sibilance is the repetition of S and SH sounds at the start of words. Next, we've got personification. So personification is, I'll explain in a second, but we can see it here, sleeping sea and also lulled Alex. So does a sea normally sleep? No. Does a sea normally act like a mother, lulling a baby to sleep, in this case Alex? No. So here the author is giving the sea some human characteristics, and this technique is called personification. Third, we have auditory imagery. That's essentially a mental sound created by a word or phrase. In this quote, we hear these soothing sounds of the sea rolling along and the waves crashing quite gently. So that would be auditory imagery, number 3. And finally, tone. Tone is a really special technique that we'll look at actually first up in the literary techniques section of the course. And essentially what this means is the attitude of the narrator, and I'll explain more about that later on in the course. So after we've identified these interesting language and techniques, we need to look at the meaning and effect of these corresponding language choices. So first, what does the sibilance do? Well, it's the repetition of these S sounds, which I guess you can say it mimics the sound of the waves, sort of. And the effect of this is soothing, right? We feel calm as a result. And the same goes for personification. This image of a mother lulling a baby to sleep is very gentle and caring and makes us think of loving mothers. And this is also calming. The same goes for auditory imagery and also tone, specifically tone. When we read this quote, we get the impression that we get this relaxed and gentle vibe, if you will, and that makes the reader feel the same way, to feel relaxed. And if you're confused about that, don't worry, we'll look much more in detail later on in the course. So finally, we need to link all of this to the purpose, and there are heaps of possibilities. You know, there are so many possibilities to explain why the writer chose these language choices. One of them could be to portray Alex's relaxed state of mind. Another one could be to calm the reader, to create a tranquil atmosphere, and to establish the serene beach setting. The only thing left to do now is to write up our beautiful analysis in full sentences, but I'll be nice. We'll leave that for a later section in the course.